At DC Livery, we are focused on building a lifelong relationship with our clients by providing them with reliable, courteous, professional, and secure ground transportation services. Whether it's a multi-vehicle roadshow, a sedan service for airport transfer, a limousine for corporate or private events, a wedding, or a prom or night on the town, you or your clients can enjoy the luxury and comfort of our meticulously maintained fleet. Wherever your business or travel plans take you, DC Livery can arrange all of your ground transportation with just one phone call. Major metro areas we service are Washington, D.C., New York Tri-State, Chicago, Philadelphia, Boston, Houston, Miami, Los Angeles, San Francisco, Paris, London, and many more in U.S. and worldwide. We offer sedans, SUVs, vans, stretch limousines, minibuses, and motor coaches, and utilize state-of-the-art traffic, flight monitoring, and GPS vehicle tracking systems. So call DC Livery to book your next ride.
Hello and welcome back to our discussion about relationships in business and women in business. We want to talk to Ms. Adnani, about the relationships that are developing when businesses go to a bank. And she is the branch manager in this area of Largo, of Wells Fargo.
Yes. My name is Archana Madnani. I'm the branch manager at Largo. And one of the things that I am really passionate about, and that is credit for small business. What I have noticed in my relationships with small business is that small business owners are mostly talking about a banking relationship, and what their concept of a banking relationship is a checking account and probably a savings account, if that. I think it is important to understand the importance of establishing business credit for small businesses. What I find business owners tend to do when they start up is look at what they have on their personal fund side, and then they use their personal funds to float their small business. What ends up happening is there is no structure or line of demarcation, so to speak, when it comes to finances. So personal funds and business funds are all intermingled, and now we have a taxation fiasco. So what is important to understand is to create a separate identity, a separate credit identity for the business side, and then the separate identity for the personal side. A lot of business owners come to me and think they don't qualify for credit. It is important to understand that, and I can speak to Wells Fargo, we've created a credit product that's unique to the small business world, and that is a line of secure credit or a secure credit card. What it allows a business owner to do is take their personal funds, invest it in a line of credit that will be dedicated in the business name, start establishing the business credit, and then once the business credit is established, take off the training wheels, so to speak, take that collateral money out, and now you have business credit established.
That's excellent.
And now you don't have the need to commingle personal finances and the business finances. Now your business has a separate identity, and you are on your way to success. So that is important for business owners to know. In addition, it's also important to understand that every banker, as they walk into Wells Fargo, is well trained on all aspects of small business. We invest in our bankers to train our bankers to have small business conversations. So take advantage of that. Pick their brains. That knowledge comes free of cost to you. So take advantage of that and build your financial success around the knowledge that you can gather from those bankers and those branch managers that you come across.
Now, Archana, this is Small Business Saturday, and I think it's important to talk about a little more of the conversation we had about businesses that take advantage of a bank like yours that's community minded, that is not just looking for a larger organizations to invest in, but see real value in Main Street? Why is that?
Well, my personal belief is that we are only as strong as our weakest link. So if our small business is not strong, then middle America is not strong, because that is middle America. And it is important to understand that, and a lot of people lose focus of that. So supporting small business and buying from small business, knowing small business, supporting small business owners is everybody's business. Is everybody's business. So rather than making a choice to go to that next chain, which has its own perks and its advantages, if you're able to gather that similar product with personalized touch of customer service, as my colleagues, my peers here spoke about, why not go to a small business owner and give them that business?
No, I think it makes a lot of sense. And also, Rose, you had talked about, with women in particular, when we're talking about relationships, women have a style that they use to develop these relationships. Can you talk about the history of women in business in that?
Yes, yes. Actually, we were talking about a little while ago, we were talking about competitive versus collaborative business. And, back before the 1980s, business was pretty competitive. It didn't matter how you got the business. The person who brought in the business got all the accolades. And then we had affirmative action. And as women moved into middle management, the first women had to be competitive. Once they felt more secure in their positions, with affirmative action being confirmed, then women started to manage with their natural personalities. And women tend to be much more collaborative and less competitive. And so by the 1990s, we started having research done by MBA students and PhD students that showed that collaboration brought a competitive advantage to businesses. When we are collaborative, which is what Cheryl's business is all about, and also with Wells Fargo and banking, it's really about being collaborative together so that we can be more creative and offer more solutions to our customers.
Oh, I think that's critical. And what do you think about that, Rose?
Absolutely. In fact, as we come into that collaboration, when we collaborate with other small businesses, that expands our own footprint. Right. And so it's expanding not only our footprint, but the footprint of the other person. And in that collaboration, whether it's men and women coming together, there's an acceleration. And there's a brand identity that is getting out there that you wouldn't normally have isolated on your own. So that is another opportunity.
And Cheryl, is that something you talk about a lot at the conferences you spoke about earlier?
That is one aspect where we can come together with alliances and forming alliances. It's an opportunity to actually build business growth from that collaborative method. And so sitting at meal tables with mentors that are experts that have already made it. So as we collaborate and we investigate, what are the next steps? Often, business owners actually do not know what their next steps are. And when you start doing business and you're doing it out of sequence, you've wasted time, you've wasted precious money, and then you have to go back to the beginning. One of the things my husband and I do is we give a business sequence development chart. So it gives opportunity for them to look at the chart, the 5 steps, the sequences under each step, and determine where are you on this chart, what have you completed. Many business owners will check off here and then they're way over on the other side, but they haven't completed so many steps.
In the middle.
In the middle, or even in the beginning, just knowing core values. And collaborating with other people and doing business with other people of the same core values is so key. And so that we help them to go back to their core values and just look at the steps. And therefore, then what we do is we match the people up with the experts where they are. So if they're looking at developing team or building finance, so there's a team in each level. There's financial steps in each level. So we would perhaps connect them with somebody locally, with the bank, or with at our business organization at CEO Space International. We would connect them to experts. If somebody's ready for branding, then we have branding experts. If they're ready and they're deciding they're not going perhaps with a bank, they like to do investors and have other people, it's always good to have other people investing in your business, not using your own money all the time. And so then we connect them with those people who are expert in teaching them how to raise the capital or connecting them with investors. So it's key to know where you are in your business sequence. Like Rose had mentioned, we don't know what we don't know.
Right.
And so it's important to have a mentor to take you to the next steps.
And have you found in the last 10 years, this is for all of you, that there are trends in terms of how businesses grow? Do businesses grow differently?
Oh, yes.
In the last 10 years, have you seen trends with respect to business growth? Aside from the style issues that we talked about in terms of collaboration.
Yeah, businesses grow the same way. They see a need, they produce a product or service that meets that need, and then they have to communicate to prospective customers that they have that product or service and how it's going to meet that need. Then there's the exchange of money for the service or item, and then any follow-up customer care they need. So it's pretty much the same way, but the internet and social media has allowed that to happen so much faster. And Cheryl hit on it, it's about having intention with what you're doing, that you have steps to follow, it's a process. So often now people want to use blogs to get their product out there, and they think if they do a blog, then they're going to have 100 customers tomorrow. Everything you do in business should have an intention. Everything you do, you should have the goal for that time. If I'm spending an hour in a meeting, what's my goal for that meeting? In business, we're very intentional about our relationships. We're very intentional about what we do. And so I see it as the same process, just a little faster.
Interesting. What about you, Archana?
Well, what I have seen is, I know that we're getting to a very technology-driven culture, and it has its perks. However, there is an age-old connection that every human being responds to. That is a face-to-face connection. That face-to-face connection is, even though it seems like a dying art, that face-to-face connection is what is producing maximum results. So anywhere where businesses are focusing on that face-to-face interpersonal connection, that's where they're scoring. It is a recipe to success that will never die, according to me.
So the technology is just an accelerator.
It's an enhancement. It frees up some of your time, yes. But there is something to be said about the value of face-to-face connection. When you sit with a banker and you share your financial health with a banker and let the banker then help you, you can see how connected the banker is. You can feel how in touch the banker is with what your needs are, unless you are face-to-face with that banker. So there's a value to that connection that is underutilized, but is always appreciated.
No, that's excellent. And you want to echo that. I see you
Absolutely,
saying amen over there.
Absolutely. Do you know, when you sit with a person and you're viewing them and they're viewing you, the body language actually is 55% communication. Your voice and your voice tone are, I believe it's like 13 or 7%. Not quite sure of those specifics, but it's the body language. So that when you're having the eye contact, I spoke before about having trust and building trust and bonding.
Right.
You don't do that over a phone. And if your voice is not communicating, or on internet, somebody's reading your email or your Facebook or your LinkedIn, and they're not getting that personal touch. So, and I think, the trends are, enhancement, I like that word, it's enhancement. The social media is enhancement. However, we will never be doing business like we did 10 years ago. We're working harder, and I think we need to continue to work harder at building relationship because it's such an instant society. We want everything so instant, done, done, done. We don't want to build the relationships.
Instant gratification.
Yes, and that's so key.
And I'm going to play the devil's advocate here because you call them enhancements. For me, all the technology are the tools that we use for the relationships we're creating. And I actually do have some very good relationships with some online retailers.
Okay.
The issue comes in that very few businesses do use the tools well. Okay?
Okay.
If I can go online at 2 a.m. and order a product or service that meets my needs,
Yes.
have it delivered, if any problems arrive, have great customer service, then that company has created a good relationship with me. And so it's about taking that tool and using it well.
That's good. That's a good
It's an
point.
interesting perspective.
Yeah, I think that it's key in the marketplace.
I think it's an interesting perspective.
I think the
Sorry.
bottom line is integrity. When somebody says they're going to deliver, and they do deliver, and they do it with excellence, that's integrity. Whether you're face-to-face or whether you're social media, that's the whole, we don't do everything by a handshake, but integrity is where, to me, the bottom line is in doing business.
All right, ladies, it has been my pleasure to have this excellent discussion on this topic, and it is now time to bring this panel discussion to a close and to bring in the executive producer of Business Resources TV, Rodney Minor, for some final words. Rodney?